Part 135. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1341. Chapter 1341 Change Clothes. Be careful. Yuan Ran stepped back in time to avoid Ye Qingfeng's flying kick. But the water in my hands spilled out of the quilt and sprinkled on my hands. In an instant, Beiya appeared in front of her and held her hands to check carefully, "Is everything okay?" Yuan Ran shook his head, "It's okay, this water is warm water, it can't be boiled." Ye Qingfeng got into trouble on his own initiative, and instantly became intimidated. He bowed his head in front of the two of them and apologized, "I'm sorry, godmother, I didn't mean to do it." I apologized to Yuan Ran and then to Kitano, "I'm sorry, godfather, I will pay attention to it in the future." Although Ye Qingfeng is naughty, he is very smart. When you do one thing, you don't just do one thing, but you also take into account other people and things related to it. His apology made Kitano unable to even reprimand him if he wanted to. They are this group of people, probably because they have such a good relationship, they don't treat children with the thought of this is someone else's child, which means they are tolerant and doting on them. Kitano protects his wife, the kind who will look down upon anyone who hurts his wife. However, Ye Qingfeng's unintentional intention did not cause any harm this time, and he apologized so quickly that Kitano could not say anything harsh. Yuan Ran clapped his hand and said, "I'm fine. Let me go first. I'll go change clothes. The water that spilled just now has wet her pants, so she needs to change." Beiya grabbed her hand and said, "I'll go with you." Yuan Ran shook his head, "No need, you can teach Feng first, I'm really fine." After Yuan Ran left, Bi stared at Ye Qingfeng and casually scolded him for being a brat. Ye Qingfeng escaped, turning his back to Beiya and making faces. After the older one and the younger one had been messing around in the backyard for a long time, both of them were sweating profusely and wanted to collapse on the bed. But Yuan Ran had already cooked the rice, and it smelled so fragrant that she couldn't help but run to the dining table and sit down. Bi and Ye Qingfeng were pushing and shouting, "You go first! You go first!" When Yuan Ran came over with a plate, she heard the two people arguing about something, and asked curiously, "What are you doing?" Ye Qingfeng answered first, "Godmother, godfather doesn't want to take a shower." "Beiya, you brat, it's obvious that you don't want to go, but I'm letting you go. The teacher said we should respect our elders, so I should let my godfather go first. The teacher didn't say we should love children, you go first." Yuan Ran understood it from the conversation between the two. Both of them wanted to ask the other to take a shower first, and maybe they could stay here for a meal first, but neither of them wanted to go first, so it was a stalemate. Yuan Ran has a black streak on his head. "You, and you, one upstairs and one downstairs, go quickly. You are not allowed to eat until you finish washing." Yuan Ran pointed in a direction and directly arranged the arrangements for the two of them. The big one and the little one looked at each other, stood up sadly, and each went in a different direction. The shower was quick, and before Yuan Ran's next dish was out of the pot, Ye Qingfeng and Beiya had already finished washing and came out. "This time it is clean and you can sit directly on the dining table and chairs." The two of them sat down properly and waited for the meal to begin. Bi and Ye Qingfeng are not the kind of people who like to be quiet, so after a while they gathered together and sat around playing. "Daddy, let me show you the new Transformers I got last week. I'll collect a few more and I can claim the mysterious grand prize for the anniversary." "Huh, childish." My mommy said, "This is called perseverance in personal hobbies." Yuan Ran was standing not far away holding the dish and watching, suddenly reluctant to step forward. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1342. Chapter 1342 Doesn't Han Chi have no mother? I was unwilling to step forward to break the atmosphere. She likes it very much when the family brothers and sisters come to visit her, because every time she sees her children, her heart becomes very soft. Ever since Ye Qingfen became Bai Ye's teacher, he came to his home more often than when he was a child, and Yuan Ran also saw him more often. Ye Qingfen is very familiar with the couple, and their godfather and godmother are also half-parents. They actually doted on the Ye family brothers and sisters. Especially, when she saw Kitano and Ye Qingfen getting along, she felt that the scene was particularly enjoyable. As if it could satisfy her dream that has always been unable to become a reality, that is, a child and a complete family. At first she thought about adopting a child, but was blocked by Kitano. Later she figured out that in the worst case, she would not have children. As long as the two of them loved each other, they could live a good life. But sometimes I still think about it. She is not a person who likes to be noisy, but when a child makes a noise at home, the feeling is different. She is very happy and satisfied. Godmother, godmother, please hurry up, I'm going to starve to death. Ye Qingfeng saw Yuan Ran standing there unmoving, and waved to her vigorously, still shouting those words. Yuan Ran served all the dishes and gave the child a bowl of rice first. You're so hungry, eat quickly. Thank you, godmother. Ye Qingfeng held the chopsticks in one hand and the bowl in the other, and responded to Yuan Ran with a loud and powerful voice. Seeing that Ye Qingfeng had received high-level service, Kitano also looked at Yuan Ran eagerly. Wife, where is mine? Wait a moment. Yuan Ran, a Buddhist, was also very obedient and willing to help him fill the meal. When a bowl of rice was delivered to Bi held her hand and said, "Of course, you sit down and eat." He left Yuan Ran here and went to serve the meal himself. When he returned to the dining table, he saw Yuan Ran picking vegetables for Ye Qingfeng. Bi sat beside him silently, eating his own quietly. Yuan Ran also kept telling her children what they should pay attention to when eating. Feng this vegetable is very nutritious and can increase your physical fitness. I've checked it and for you. Although there are no children at home, Yuan Ran is very knowledgeable about children's safety and diet. Ye Qingfeng basically doesn't refute the words that adults say that are good to him, and he will reciprocate them, such as pointing to Yuan Ran's favorite food and saying, "Godmother, this is your favorite, you should eat more." "Godmother, thank you for your hard work." Ye Qingfeng has a sweet mouth. As long as he is willing, he can make you happy when he praises others. Turning around, I didn't forget to say to Kitano, "Dad, you've worked hard too, thank you." He scooped up a bowl of soup himself and used it as a wine glass to clink glasses with Kitano. "Daddy, I respect you." The things he does at a young age are just like those experienced and slick businessmen in the mall, which often makes Yuan Ran dumbfounded. Eat quickly, we are adults and know what to do. The teacher said that caring does not distinguish between adults and children, and we must be kind to each other. Your teacher is right. Godmother, do you know Han Qi? Han Qi, is he Han Xingyi's son? That's right, he's Uncle Han's son. Godmother, you know him too. I don't know him, but I know his parents. His parents, Ye Qingfeng asked in confusion, isn't Han Qi without a mother? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1343. Chapter 1343. Godmother, are you giving birth to a little sister? Who told you? Every child has his own parents. For a moment, Yuan Ran and Ye Qingfeng understood the words at different points. Ye Qingfeng scratched his head and said, "They all say that Han Qi has no mother and is very pitiful." Now Yuan Ran understood. "Ah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the meaning. Everyone has parents, but Han Chi's mother is not with him. Why, where is Han Chi's mother? His mother went to a faraway place. When facing children, they like to use some beautiful words to modify the tragic facts. They just hope that the children will not be frightened by the cruel reality and retain their inner expectations for good things. It's just that Ye Qingfeng is not an ordinary child. As soon as he heard Yuan Ran say this, he knew that Han Chi's mother might have passed away. But he was still a little strange. Last time I asked mommy, she said she wouldn't let me ask. If my godmother said that, I would understand. At that time, he also asked Ye Yuwei if he agreed, but Yuwei just told him that he could not ask this question. Thinking about it now, Ye Qingfeng found it strange that mommy refused to answer. Yuan Ran understands it in her heart. Because Ye Wei is full of obsessions like Han Xingyi, it can even be said that the obsession in Ye Wei's heart has become a kind of paranoia. She is unwilling to admit the tragic fact, and she doesn't want to face it at all. Okay, finish the rice in your bowl quickly, it will be cold in a while. Yes. Ye Qingfeng held the bowl and ate it in large gulps. The rice in the bowl quickly reached the bottom. Ye Qingfeng finished his meal and sat aside to read a book. B felt sleepy and went upstairs to sleep, while Ye Qingfeng was the kind of person who couldn't sleep at noon. When he was young, Ye Yuyi forced him to sleep, but now that he is a little older, Ye Yuyi no longer forces him. He was sitting there reading a book by himself. It was a bit uncomfortable for the noisy child to suddenly become quiet. Yuan Ran didn't sleep. She sat next to Ye Qingfeng to chat with him. How did you learn from your godfather today? My godfather is very powerful, very good. Then come here often and let your godfather teach you more. Don't worry, I won't be polite. Tell me what else you like to eat and tell your godmother she will go out and buy it for you later. Anything is fine. I'm not picky about food. Mommy said I can't be picky about food. Not being picky about food is a good habit and should be maintained. Outsiders know that Yuan Ran doesn't like to chat with others, but Ye Qingfeng is an exception. She likes to talk to her children more, because communicating with them does not require her to think about complicated things. Ye Qingfeng turned a page of the book, suddenly raised his head and asked, Godmother, do you like me very much? Yuan Ran touched his head affectionately and said, Of course, you call me godmother. You are also my son. Of course I like you. Godmother, can I ask you a question? You say. Why don't you have a little brother or sister? Do you and your godfather want to be a dink family? Dink family is a new term Ye Qingfeng learned. It's just that this sentence touched Yuan Ran's taboo. Children don't understand adults' things. I'm not a little kid, I'm a big kid. Okay, you are an older child, but this is my godmother's secret, so I can't tell you. You don't even want to tell me? Ye Qingfeng snorted and pointed at Yuan Ran's belly and muttered, maybe the little sister is here. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1344. Chapter 1344, As for the little sister, she will be Fenger's wife. If others said it, it would upset Yuan Ran, but Tong Yanwuji made her very happy to hear it. If there is a little sister in the belly, she will be Fenger's wife from now on. Ye Qingfeng suddenly pricked up his ears because he seemed to have heard something terrible. He was originally sitting next to Yuan Ran, but now he moved closer to Yuan Ran. Godmother, did I hear you right? Are you kidding me? Yuan Ran touched his head and said, no. Because she knew that was impossible. It's just that Ye Qingfeng remembered the sentence firmly. Not only did he remember it, he also went to share it with his sister Yezhiruo. Ruruo, let me tell you a secret. What secret? My godmother said that she would give my future little sister as my daughter-in-law. Huh? You wants to be your wife, of course, The first candidate that came to Yezhiruo's mind was Xiao Yuer. However, Ye Qingfeng shook her head. That's wrong, it was Enran's godmother who said that she will be my wife when she gives birth to a little sister. He seemed to have received a huge benefit, and he was very happy about it without even seeing a shadow. Yezhiruo, as a bystander, laughed at Ye Qingfeng after thinking about it. Brother, you are stupid. If godmother Enran had given birth to a little sister, she would have given birth a long time ago. That's why she said that, because she didn't have a little sister. Ye Qingfeng. Being brought down again. So sad. But it is impossible to admit defeat in front of my sister, absolutely impossible. Huh, it's written in the book that I'll be pregnant in 10 months, which is still early. What if I really have a little sister? If there really is, then Ruruo wishes brother good luck. She cupped her hands towards Ye Qingfeng and added, even if there is, by the time the little sister is born, you will be 10 years apart. Brother, you have to do old cows eat young grass. Ye Qingfeng. If this person was not his biological sister, he would definitely deal with her without mercy. It was probably when Yezhiruo was questioned that Ye Qingfeng stopped telling others about it. But he obviously ran more diligently to Yuan Ran's house. Every time the weekend comes, I run out in a hurry, and I can't even stop Ye. While packing his things, I couldn't help but ask, why do you keep going to Kitano's godfather's house recently? Ye Qingfeng's answer was smooth, let's learn kung fu. Before, your dad signed you up for classes and even found a teacher for you, but you rejected him. Now you are pestering your godfather. He is very busy. You can't always be like this. It will cause trouble to others. Troublesome. I just go there to practice. It has an atmosphere and I don't need a godfather to be there. Okay. Ye Weiwei was defeated by his son's reasons. As for Ye Qingfeng's true purpose, he would ask Yuan Ran a question every time he went there. Does the godmother have a little sister in her belly? Children's words don't make her feel pressured. On the contrary, every time a child simply talks to her ear, her sensitivity to this topic gradually decreases. She was now able to tell Ye Qingfeng calmly, no. Ye Qingfeng touched his chin, thinking deeply with a serious expression. He felt that this was not going to work. If no little sister was born in 10 months, wouldn't he lose? It seems very shameful to lose to your own sister. No, he has to find a way. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1345. Chapter 1345. Ye Qingfeng was very disappointed when he learned the truth. Ye Qingfeng began to search on the internet. How can I get pregnant with a little sister? The topics on the answer page are very strange and difficult to understand. Most of them said to go to the hospital, but Ye Qingfeng felt that those answers were unreliable. But after looking over and over again, the word hospital appeared the most times. Finally, he thought of treating a dead horse as a living horse doctor, and he had to give it a try no matter what. Ye Qingfeng carried Yuan Ran out. He can use Baidu Maps and check information about nearby hospitals, and he can find the target with just one search. Yuan Ran didn't know Ye Qingfeng's plan at first, and thought the child wanted to buy something, so she accompanied him out. When the two of them walked to the bottom of the hospital, Yuan Ran looked up and saw the hospital logo with a red cross, and was shocked. Feng what are you going to buy? We are going in the wrong direction. Ye Qingfeng took Yuan Ran's hand and walked towards the hospital. Yes, it's here. I checked online and this hospital has pretty good reviews. Why are you going to the hospital? Are you sick? Yuan Ran subconsciously put his hand to Ye Qingfeng's forehead to feel the temperature. Ye Qingfeng shook his head and said, I'm not sick. I want to take my godmother to see a doctor. Me, I'm not sick either. But the godmother is not pregnant with the little sister. I can help the godmother get pregnant with the little sister. Yuan Ran couldn't laugh or cry after hearing this reason. I know what you mean, but godmother has her own plans, so we won't go in, let's go. Over so many years, she has already used all the methods available to her. Now she will not go to the hospital to do such boring things. Yuan Ran took Ye Qingfeng's hand and wanted to lead him in the opposite direction, but found that he couldn't be pulled away. Ye Qingfeng stood stubbornly on the spot, looking very determined. Yuan Ran could understand that children are very stubborn when they are obsessed with something, and she also tried to communicate with Ye Qingfeng in a nice way. Feng I'm sorry, my godmother lied to you before. In fact, my godmother can't give birth to a little sister, so there's no point in going to the hospital. Why not? Because my godmother is sick, but she has already been to the hospital. She can't be cured, and she will never be cured. When Ye Qingfeng heard the sentence, he suddenly felt a deep sadness. His expression suddenly turned into one of disbelief. He turned around and hugged Yuan Ran, shaking his head in her arms. No, just being sick can be cured. Uncle Gu is very good at curing diseases. Let's go find Uncle Gu. I've already looked for it, and I've tried everything you can think of, so I'm sorry, but I can't keep my promise to you. It seems cruel to let children know such truth. It is like poking a hole in a clean and intact white paper in their hearts. Yuan Ran knew that he could understand Ye Qingfeng's conversation like this. Ye Qingfeng let Yuan Ran pull her away dejectedly. Yuan Ran could tell that he was in a bad mood, so he didn't take him home directly. He took Ye Qingfeng towards the park. There were many people there, so maybe he could relax his mood. Now Ye Qingfeng is like a deflated balloon. He will go in whichever direction Yuan Ran takes him. Enter through the gate, go down the stone steps, walk by the river, and walk through the woods. You are already halfway through the park. Since it was inconvenient to turn back halfway, we continued walking down this road. Going down the stairs again, there is a small temple halfway up. I went to the park before and saw a small temple on the way. I went in and worshipped. It felt so serious. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1346. Chapter 1346 Dancing to the Waist. The temple is very small, extending back from the middle of the staircase. The door is open, and there are people going in to worship Buddha. When Ye Qingfeng saw this temple, he suddenly remembered that when he was searching before, he saw someone saying something about burning incense and worshipping Buddha. He had an idea and pulled Yuan Ran towards it. Godmother, let's go in and pay our respects. Okay. There is always a special sense of awe when seeing such a place. They may not be superstitious, but this kind of religious belief can also give people a good hint. As soon as they stepped into the door, they consciously became very quiet, and tried to control the sound of their footsteps while walking so as not to make too much noise. Ye Qingfeng stood in front of the Buddha statue, closed her eyes and made a sincere wish. When he saw the worship mat on the ground, he bent his legs and knelt down. Yuan Ran didn't expect that a child could do so many tricks. If it weren't for the Buddhist purity, she would really be able to make a few jokes. After worshipping the Buddha, Ye Qingfeng glanced around and found a tube of bamboo sticks placed next to the merit box. He grabbed the bamboo tube with both hands and shook it, and a red sign fell out on the table. Ye Qingfeng picked it up and looked at it. The signature was very simple: Yu Yan throws herself into her arms. Ye Qingfeng knows the word, but doesn't know the meaning of the idiom. Yuan Ran picked it up and took a look, but frowned. There is no dedicated presiding master here, and even if they asked for a fortune, no one would answer. Ye Qingfeng touched the money in his pocket and put it all into the merit box. There will definitely be good luck now. After leaving the park, Yuan Ran took Ye Qingfeng home. Ye Qingfeng never asked Yuan Ran about his little sister again. However, he still went to Yuan Ran's house on weekends because he felt that his godmother was very pitiful and needed someone to accompany her. Yuan Ran welcomed him very much, but Beiye was heartbroken. Because every time Ye Qingfeng came, Anran's attention would fall on the little kid. Beiye felt bitter, but he couldn't bear to drive Ye Qingfeng away because he found that Yuan Ran was very happy when getting along with Ye Qingfeng. On this day, Ye Qingfeng not only prepared to report, but also brought his sister Yezhiruo with him. Yuan Ran was very busy taking care of her two children. Yezhiruo also stared at Yuan Ran's belly curiously. When Yezikin noticed that her eyes were on Yuan Ran's belly, he reached out to cover her eyes and whispered in her ear, "You can't ask your godmother about your little sister, otherwise your godmother will be sad." Although she didn't know the reason, Yezhiruo believed her brother's words and nodded to express her understanding. The brother and sister had a private conversation, and neither of them mentioned the matter. B was resting at home today, and Yezikin consciously went to learn martial arts with B. Yezhiruo was left to accompany Yuan Ran to relieve her boredom. Yezhiruo generously showed Yuan Ran the dance she had recently learned. "Godmother, let me perform for you." Children's body movements are flexible and their dancing is full of energy. They are very lively and cute. After watching the dance, Yuan Ran applauded her without hesitation. Yezhiruo said proudly, "This dance is what I plan to use to participate in the competition." "It's great, Ruruo dances very beautifully. Can your godmother dance?" "Won't. Then I'll teach you." Yezhiruo became interested, so he pulled Yuan Ran and circled her hand. Yuan Ran learned a few basic moves from her, and almost reached her waist. There will be good news next. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1347. Chapter 1347. Yuan Ran has a stomachache. After learning two moves from Yezhiruo, Yuan Ran waved her hands. She patted her legs and rubbed her belly. "I always feel a little uncomfortable in my stomach after dancing just now." She calculated that this month's menstrual period seemed to be in these days. Yuan Ran is most afraid of menstruation, as her entire condition will become very bad. Thinking about it like this, she didn't dare to bother anymore. "No, I can't dance anymore." She didn't learn to dance originally. Now she is 30 years old. Her bones are already set and she is not as tough as a child. When Yezhiruo heard Yuan Ran say that he wanted to give up, his first reaction was of course encouragement. "Godmother, you have to persevere. I have taught you this, and I believe you can do it too, godmother." Thinking about the time when she encouraged Yi to dance at home, she felt even more confident. Yuan Ran retorted to her, "Your mother is a good practitioner. I can't do it. I can't do it." Although Ye Wei did not specialize in dancing, she had been practicing grappling and later learned judo. Although these are different from dance, the body is always in motion and has good resilience. It is completely okay to learn the basic dance moves taught by a few children. But Yuan Ran was different. Before college, she had been under the control and arrangement of Yu's mother and studied many things. After college, she never did those active things again. She has been in a static mode. It has been more than 10 years now, and she is still the same as when she was young. "Hey, I'm going to take a breath, Ruruo, you can also take a rest." "Godmother, I'm not tired." Combining work and rest, sit down and drink water. "Oh well." Yezhiruo stopped practicing dance after listening to Yuan Ran's words. When she heard Yuan Ran said she was tired, she quickly ran to the kitchen to get 2 glasses of water. "Godmother, you drink." The child's thoughtful actions made her feel extremely warm. The heart of a child is the most genuine. "Ruruo, thank you." "You're welcome, respecting elders is a traditional virtue." Ruruo is also very good at speaking Chinese. Godmother, you speak so nicely, I'm very happy. Yeshiruo covered her cheek to show that she was shy. Yuan Ran had a faint smile on her face and put a hand on her stomach while drinking water. Yeshiruo is a very attentive child. She noticed the little movements within Ran at a glance, and asked with concern, Godmother, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling sick in your stomach? When the child discovered it, Yuan Ran rubbed it a little twice and then let go. It's okay, the menstrual period is coming soon. Ah! If Yeshiruo is not a child who doesn't understand anything, she knows that the so-called menstrual period is the worst few days of a month for girls. Yeshiruo sat next to Yuan Ran and hugged her, then Godmother should take good care of herself. Godmother knows, thank you Ruruo baby for reminding me. You're welcome. Sitting on the sofa to rest, Yuan Ran turned on the TV and let Yeshiruo choose the channel. Yuan Ran sat next to her, and after a while she felt her stomach hurt even more. Wrinkled his brows unbearably. She went to the toilet and found that she was very clean and had not yet had her period. Yeshiruo saw something was wrong and quickly called B over. B saw that Yuan Ran's face was not good, and without saying a word, he brought the family doctor over and said, look what's wrong with her. This doctor was originally hired by Kitano to take care of Yuan Ran during her menstrual period. The doctor thought it was this reason at first, but after checking, he found something was wrong. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1348. Chapter 1348 Urine Test Results. Baya and Yejia's two brothers and sisters were standing by, staring at Yuan Ran and looking at the doctor's expression. The expressions on the doctor's face are colorful and unpredictable. Doctor sister, what happened to my godmother? Yes, what's wrong, tell me quickly. The two children were even more unsteady than Kitano, so they asked directly. The doctor said hesitantly, Madam's symptoms are a bit special. I suggest you go to the hospital first. The impatient Kitano frowned and got angry, you mean you can't diagnose it? What's the use of me coming to you? The doctor quickly bowed his head and apologized, there is nothing serious about Madam's health. She just needs further diagnosis. Has she already diagnosed the result? If she was treating someone else, she might just tell her directly. But this is Yuan Ran. Yuan Ran's situation is extraordinary. If she speaks out now, the risk will be great. So the best way is to go to the hospital for diagnosis. Since the doctor said this, although B was unhappy and angry, he immediately picked up Yuan Ran and walked out. Hey, there's no need to be in such a hurry, Kitano. Shut up and get some rest. B often shows the strong side of a man, and Yuan Ran is used to it. Now that her stomach was really uncomfortable, she let Kitano carry her into the car. The family brothers and sisters also took steps to catch up. Godfather and godmother, we're going too, the brother and sister said in unison, and they all got in the car. When we got to the hospital and had to queue up for registration, Kitano's nervous expression and posture made people think he needed emergency treatment, so Yuan Ran was arranged directly in front. During the examination, everyone except the patient and the doctor must wait outside. B paced back and forth, feeling uneasy. The family brothers and sisters now have the same expression and movements, Godfather, don't worry, Godmother will be fine. B glanced at the two of them, stopped, and punched the wall. The brothers and sisters of the family looked at each other. Not long after, the people inside came out. Yuan Ran's expression was unclear, but her face seemed to be in a bad state. Baya was very worried, Ran? What did the doctor say? Yuan Ran was silent and shook his head. B stuck his head out and wanted to go in to find the doctor, but was stopped by Yuan Ran's sudden hand. No need to go, I have to go to the bathroom now. Because Baya was too worried, he didn't notice anything in Yuan Ran's hand for a while. When Yuan Ran went to find the toilet, Kitano followed her. Yuan Ran smiled and said, "Are you going to follow me into the women's room?" Baya had nothing to say, so he stood outside waiting. It turned out that the doctor wanted Yuan Ran to do a urine test. B, a grown man, didn't know much about gynecological issues. He was anxious and worried until he heard a clear result. On the other hand, Yuan Ran himself is relatively calm. Hand the things to the doctor only said, "Go to the lobby to print the report in half an hour. The results will be available in half an hour, but it actually doesn't take half an hour." B wanted to take a look in less than 3 minutes. After he walked 3 times, Yuan Ran directly pulled him hard and pulled him next to her. "Just sit down and wait." How could Kitano be so obedient? Even if he was caught, wouldn't he still have his loyal follower Ye Qingfeng? 3 minutes later, Baya looked at him and Ye Qingfeng saved him. Hey, there's a result. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1349. Chapter 1349. Yuan Ran is finally pregnant too. As soon as they heard the result, everyone gathered around. At this time, the paper report has been printed, showing the positive result. Positive. Go and ask the doctor first. They are not proficient in medical skills and can only believe in the doctor's words. During the journey, Baya kept holding Yuan Ran's hand and couldn't help but ask her a few words. "What did you check for? What did the doctor say?" Maybe." Seeing Yuan Ran hesitate to speak, Baya became more and more nervous. He put his hands on Yuan Ran's shoulders, tried his best to control his emotions, and asked in a low voice, "What?" "The doctor said that if it is positive, it may mean that you are pregnant." The sound of the last 3 words is very small, very, very small, so small that only you can hear it. Baya tilted his ears slightly. "What on earth are you going to say?" Before Yuan Ran could say anything, Ye Qingfeng suddenly said, "My godmother just seemed to say, pregnant." He had studied lip reading before because of his interest, so he could hear a meaning from Yuan Ran's mouth shape. But Kitano directly denied it. "Shut up, don't talk nonsense." Baya doesn't have a good temper towards anyone when he's anxious. It's not that he doesn't want to see his children, so a few people are not surprised. At this time, he just arrived at the door. Yuan Ran went in and took it to the doctor. The remaining 3 were blocked outside again. At this time, Yuan Ran was no longer interested. Ye Qingfeng snorted, "My lip reading is already very good, it must be right." "Nonsense, it's not that Kitano doesn't want to, it's just that he has no hope at all. It's just that Ye Qingfeng's proud temper broke out and she said what she had been holding back in her stomach before. I didn't talk nonsense. My godmother said before that she would give me a daughter-in-law if she gave birth to a little sister." Yasuhiro tugged on his sleeves, wanting to remind his brother. Baya's temper forced him to be impatient. "Oh, you kid is really good at telling lies. Everything I said is true, godfather, will you agree?" "I promise." His casual remark was not taken seriously at all. Because the next sentence was a warning to Ye Qingfeng, "Don't say such words again, do you hear me?" The door opened again, and Yuan Ran stood at the door and shouted, "Why are you so cruel to the child?" Baya's attention was attracted to her, "But don't interrupt. What did the doctor tell you? What were the test results?" "Well, the doctor said she is pregnant." This time, she finished a sentence in one breath. Her voice was normal, and she spoke very quickly. B heard it clearly this time, but he didn't dare to confirm it. "Me, you. Real. No, that. What is this feeling of a pie falling from the sky and knocking him unconscious? He suddenly felt that he couldn't think at the moment. Yet Xingfeng reacted the fastest when he heard that sentence. Oh, my godmother is going to give birth to a little sister, it's great. Yezhiruo also applauded in agreement. Godmother is so amazing. B kept staring at Yuan Ran, with emotions surging in his heart. Of course, are you really? 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 I asked several times in a row, but I couldn't get the key words out. Yuan Ran understood what he meant, and even more clearly saw the surprise on his face and the expectation in his eyes. Under his expectant gaze, he nodded heavily, yes. Godfather, you just said that if the godmother gives birth to a baby sister, she will be my daughter-in-law. Does this still count? Kitano. What do you mean, shooting yourself in the face? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1350. Chapter 1350b is crazy. The good news of Yuan Ran's pregnancy immediately hit Kitano's circle of friends. Beye, who is about to become a father, is going crazy. Not only did he post nearly 100 messages about his wife's pregnancy on his WeChat moments, but he never repeated any of them. Those who added Kitano's friends opened the space and saw several pages of Kitano's friends. At first, they thought their circle of friends had gone crazy. Ye Wei was about to call to ask about the situation, but he didn't expect Kitano to call him personally. Attention, it was Kitano who called her. Well, let me tell you some good news. My wife is pregnant and I will invite you over for a drink in 8 months. Ye Wei was really stunned for a few seconds when he heard the sentence, which was like a report. You said An Ran is pregnant? Didn't you lie to me? Today is not April Fool's Day, right? There were 3 question marks, and she looked at the year, month, and day. But in fact, she knew that even if it was April Fool's Day, Kitano would not be able to joke about this kind of thing. So before Kitano could answer, she smiled happily. Really? Congratulations. Yuan Ran immediately went to announce the good news to his mother, but Kitano thought from his wife's position, and with the Ye family's 2 children around him, the first thing he thought of was of course his wife's best friend Ye Wei. You know, Kitano is the kind of person who will not chat with anyone other than Yuan Ran on the phone for more than 10 seconds unless there is serious business. Now he was enjoying listening to Ye Wei's congratulations. Ye Wei also said that he wanted to go over and have a look now. Kitano greeted directly and domineeringly, don't worry, I will send the address and time to Moments tonight. Everyone will come. I will treat you tonight. Kitano wants everyone to know the good news that he is about to become a father. Yuan Ran couldn't stand it anymore and laughed at him for looking like a fool, which made him happy. But Kitano doesn't care. Of course, no matter what you say or do today, I will not be angry. I am not angry. He smiled at Yuan Ran, which was also said to himself. B was happy and said he would entertain everyone. Not only that, he also regarded the Ye family brothers and sisters as lucky stars, and promised many good things to them at that time. But what Ye Qingfeng was most concerned about was Kitano's promise. Godfather, you said before that if the godmother gives birth to a little sister, she will be betrothed to me as my daughter-in-law. Does this still count? Kitano. If it weren't for the fact that you are my godson, I would have slapped you away. Boy, give up your thoughts as soon as possible. This is already a round away. How could Kitano make such a boring agreement with a child? Ye Qingfeng has an innocent face. Yezhiruo walked up to him quietly and comforted in a low voice, brother, you are so handsome. You will definitely find a wife in the future. Don't fall in love prematurely now. The teacher said that children are not allowed to fall in love prematurely. Ye Qingfeng. Even my own sister doesn't support me, which is really frustrating. Yuan Ran began to live a life like a queen mother at home. She used to be a queen, but now she has been successfully promoted to the queen mother. Because this pregnancy was hard to come by, the doctor also said that Yuan Ran's body had difficulty conceiving, and pregnancy was simply a miracle, so special attention was needed. Kitano kept everything the doctor told him in mind, and even wrote a small notebook to record it. He even felt guilty and asked Yezukan, Nangong Luo and other people with experience in being fathers for advice. End of this chapter.